This is your team. This is the place that you can come every single week for those reminders of hope that you need when you're facing anything tricky or uncomfortable or strange or something that you've never experienced before. This is your team. I love these candy corns, but you guys, something tragic almost happened this year in my relationship with candy corns. Remember that God has got this, that He is with us, and that He wants to help us with whatever situation we're going through. Hey, Ground Zero, so fun to be with you. Last week I wasn't here speaking. Tyler Rowland was here from SLP. Shout out to him, he did an amazing job up here, and hi everyone over at SLP. I actually was at White Bear Lake last week, just hanging out with them, and hey to you guys over there, that was really fun. But now I'm back, and I'm so excited for tonight. It's gonna be a blast. I know a lot of us are a little bit nervous because of the topic for tonight, but listen, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna tell some embarrassing stories. It'll be awesome. Are you guys ready? Yeah. All right, I wanna start with a story from the 7th grade. We had, in our gym class, the square dancing unit. Do you still have this? You guys still have this? So we had to dance. So they said we were all the girls were partnering up with the guys, and they assigned us a guy, and I got assigned this guy named Jared, who happened to be extremely good looking. Every guy named Jared in the room right now was like, yeah, so fun. I don't know why. Okay, it wasn't you. All right, so. Not you. Okay, so anyway, I got assigned to Jared, and here's the thing, when I saw Jared, I had this problem, my face would turn red, and my heart would start beating faster, and I literally had to look away from him. I couldn't look at him. It was just difficult. And then he reached out to hold my hand. Okay, and here's the thing. I knew that he had to hold my hand. It was assigned to him for the class to hold my hand, but still, something was going on inside of me. It was like fireworks were going off, and it was a new feeling for me, and it was very exciting. And then I remember a couple of days into the square dancing unit in class, he came by my locker after class was over, and he leaned up against my locker and looked at me, and there was smiling, and then I think he said something, but I really honestly cannot recall if he said what he said or the words or if I said anything back. It was just a totally unbelievably magical moment, okay? Now, I don't remember having a feeling like that before the 7th grade. This went well beyond any elementary school crush that I'd had, well beyond just a feeling of hey, this guy's kind of cool. What I was feeling towards Jared is what I would call a sexual feeling. Oh, that was so painful to say. I'm gonna say that a whole lot more times in this message, okay? Okay, here's why I wanna say this. It was a new feeling for me, and it kind of came out of nowhere, and I didn't know how to handle it. Now, it is possible that in the last couple of years of your life, you have had a feeling like that, okay? And if you have, it's okay. Sexual feelings are actually kind of hard to sort out when they sneak up on you, and they're very powerful, which is why we have to figure out tonight. They're having a hard time calming down here at Lino. Are you guys having a hard time over there? It's okay, guys. It's gonna be fine. We have to figure out how we're gonna handle these feelings when they show up in our lives. Because if we don't decide now how to handle them, we might make decisions surrounding those feelings that we will regret later. Now, most of you know we're in a teaching series called Different, where we're learning that God created us to be different. So when everybody else is talking a certain way or acting a certain way or even believing a certain way, we know that we can be courageous and strong and confident and lead the way to be different, because that is how God designed us to be. This whole concept is summed up really well in one verse in the book of Romans. It's the Apostle Paul writing, and he says this: Don't copy the behaviors and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn what God's will is for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Now, I really like this challenge from Paul here, especially when it comes to the topic of sexuality, because the behavior and customs of this world, when it comes to this topic, are powerful and strong and convincing at times. And it makes us feel like we have to react the way the whole world is reacting when we have sexual feelings. But Paul says we don't have to, that we can let God shape the way we think, and we can be different, and we can lead the way, and we cannot just do what everybody else is doing. And I don't know about you, but I really like that. I like the idea that when I have a feeling, I get to decide what I do with that feeling. And I like that for you. I like the idea that when you have a feeling, you get to decide what to do, not everybody else around you telling you what to do. So tonight, we are gonna learn how to be different and let God shape our thinking. And we're gonna do that by learning one truth. And here's that one truth. We don't have to act on our sexual feelings right now. This is the truth we're gonna learn tonight. We don't have to act on our sexual feelings right now. Now, we're gonna unpack this a little bit by looking at the very first sexual feeling that ever happened on the planet Earth. It's hard to believe, but this is actually recorded in the Bible. In the book of Genesis, the very first book of the Bible, Adam, the first man, and Eve, the first woman, they have just met for the first time. Eve was just created. And Adam is like pretty blown away by how awesome she is. And he starts talking. This is what he says. At last, he says, this one is bone from my bone and flesh from my flesh. She'll be called woman because she was taken from man. This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Now, the man and his wife were both naked, but they felt no shame. All right, Adam is just pumped that there is another human on the earth that he can be close to. And I dare say that he is expressing his sexual feelings in this moment. Look, he says, at last. He's like, yes, she's finally here. And it's like he's been looking for someone and she's finally arrived, someone to sort of complete him. And then I love this part too. At the end it says that they felt no shame because the desire that Adam and Eve had for each other was good and it was from God. And so they had no shame. They knew that and they had no shame. These verses prove that God is not against sex or sexual desire. In fact, he designed it so that we could have sexual desire towards someone else without shame in the context of marriage. Now look at this part of the verse. It says, a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife. That's very intentional language here. That we are supposed to act out our feelings sexually only in the context of marriage. But that doesn't mean that you won't have any of those feelings until you actually get married. That would be very weird, wouldn't it? Like, let's say you pick someone, you're like, I'm gonna marry that person because you have similar interests, or you just, I don't know, you play the same sports and you're just like, this person's cool. But you felt no physical attraction to that person whatsoever until you were actually at the altar and the pastor performing the wedding said, I now pronounce you husband and wife, and then you suddenly felt a physical attraction for that person in that moment. That would be so weird, wouldn't it? That is not how we're wired at all. For all of us, the sexual feelings that we have usually begin around the middle school years, and they last our whole lives. It's not something that's going to go away. But we have to figure out how to deal with them before we're married. Now, if you listen to people around you, you watch TV, you watch Netflix, you watch movies, even stuff you read online, you are going to read about the way kind of everybody handles their sexual feelings. And when you see those things, most of what you see will be lies, okay? And tonight, I really want to combat those lies and tell you the truth. And the truth is this, that we don't have to act on our sexual feelings right Now, when you watch a movie, you see this all the time. Like, people meet, they have like these feelings for each other, and then suddenly you see them kissing, or you see them making out, or you see them going home together and waking up in the same place the next morning. They're yelling, "You!" This is so awesome. This is the thing. In those movies, in those shows, you don't even know that this is influencing you, but it does influence you. In these movies and in these shows, it's like these people have this attraction for one another, and they can't say no to it. And they have to give in, and they have to act on those desires in a sexual way. But that is just a big lie. In fact, the truth is that if we act on those desires, those feelings, before we're married, we can do serious damage to ourselves and to our future husband or future wife. Now, you probably don't know your future husband or your future wife right now. It's possible that you're going to marry the person you had a crush on in kindergarten, but it's much more likely that you don't even know that person yet. So it seems like it would be impossible to harm them if you were to act on a sexual feeling right now, but that's just wrong. I want you to look back at the scripture. This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Something really mysterious happens when we have sex, basically, when we act on our sexual feelings outside of the context of marriage. And the thing that happens is that we are united, like basically super glued to the person. Now, if the person you are super glued to is not your spouse, is not the person that you're committed to for the rest of your life, frankly, that's just gross. Like, you just don't want to be united to someone who is not your spouse. Now, I remember having a conversation about this with someone that I was dating in high school. You ready for another story? It's true. It was my junior year, and I'd been dating this guy for a few weeks when he kissed me. And I don't want to be mean here, but when he kissed me, it was like he was eating my face. He was feeling an intensity in the kiss, a passion in the kiss that I was not feeling. And it bothered me, and I thought I should have a conversation with him about this, and so I did. We were having dinner a couple nights later. You guys are like, "I can't believe you did this, Joelle." A couple nights later, we're having dinner, and I say to him, I'm like, "Hey, when you kissed me the other day, it was like very intense. Like, you got really intense with the kiss. And I'm not interested in going further with you physically, so I think we should like pull back a little bit." And I was afraid that I had hurt his feelings, but apparently I had not hurt his feelings, because he responded. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." He's like, "Yeah, I think I was moving a little too fast. I can wait a little longer for that." That's what he said. That is what he said. Now, I did not know exactly what he meant by a little longer for that, but I had an idea in my mind, and so I broke up with him. It's not sad, you guys. Here's why I broke up with him. Because I knew that someday I was gonna meet a guy that I wanted to marry. And I was pretty sure this guy was not him. And so I wasn't gonna put up with any of his intense kissing or whatever else he had in mind. I was going to get out. Did I like him? Yes, I liked him. Was he worth harming my future husband for? No, not at all. And my point is this: sexual feelings are going to come up in our life, but we don't have to act on them in a sexual way. We can say no, and we can save sex for the one person that we're gonna be married to for our whole life. Now, if I were you, I would be thinking right now, so how am I supposed to do this, Joelle? Because you're saying the feelings are gonna come, and you're saying that we're supposed to wait, but what am I supposed to do with the feelings when they come up? And I wanna give you 2 ideas of what to do when those sexual feelings come up in your life. Here's the first thing. Name it. Now, here's what I mean by that. I mean that we need to acknowledge that the feeling that we're having is a sexual feeling, that it's different than just like a feeling of a crush kind of feeling. And the reason that we need to name it and acknowledge what it is because if we don't do that, we won't be able to handle the feeling in a God-honoring way. It will own us instead of us owning it. So that is why when you're in gym class and the guy reaches out for your hand and the fireworks are going off inside, you can just say in your brain, don't say it out loud, that'll be weird. Just say in your brain, like, this is attraction. Like, this feeling is different. This is a sexual feeling that I'm having right now. Or more seriously, when you're in a relationship with somebody that you really care about, and you're the one who wants to do the intense kissing. In that moment, you can pull back and you can be like, whoa, Joelle told me about this. This is a sexual feeling that God designed for marriage, and I'm not married yet. And so now you need to know what to do next. You name it, and then here's the second thing. Redirect it. Now, I am not saying that you literally would command or direct the feeling to go away, like, go away, feeling. Also weird and creepy. Don't do that. What I am saying is that you can pick something else that is completely non-sexual to do instead. Something else that will get the energy out. Now, let me explain a little bit. When you have these kinds of feelings, what happens is your body kind of has this burst of energy or excitement or emotion. It's kind of like if you slammed an energy drink, you know? And all of this energy just shows up inside your body, and you have to know what to do with it. And so what I'm saying you should do with it is redirect it, like do something else. So I don't care what it is, like go for a run or a bike ride or play soccer or arm wrestle your sibling or do one of those dance games on the Xbox, like anything that you can think of that is non-sexual that will get that energy to get out of your body. Now, this might seem a little bit weird, but it's really important. Because remember, this is a feeling that you're gonna have that starts now but lasts your whole life, and you have to figure out how to manage it. Now, if you really care for somebody and you're like, I wanna express that I really care for that person, well, great, then you can tell them that you care about them. You can write them a note. You can make them cookies or buy them a teddy bear or something like that. And listen, if you do that instead, what will happen is it will build your relationship. Your relationship will get stronger. They'll know that you care for them, and you'll be honoring God, and you'll be being different, which is what our goal is. Now, here is one more thing. If you're feeling these feelings and you just don't know what to do with them, another really good idea is to talk to an adult that you trust. Now, I know you hear this kind of stuff all the time, but let me explain why this is really important. First, you're gonna have a ton of questions about sexuality over the next few years. And it is really helpful to talk to someone who has already been through your stage of life. What we tend to do is just talk to someone our own age, but they just don't know because they just haven't been through it. And so it's really important right now to find an adult that you trust. It could be your small group leader or someone else here at Ground Zero. It could be one of your parents or anyone else who has a strong relationship with God. That's really important. And you can talk with them, and I promise you, they won't laugh at you, they won't shame you, they won't say your questions are dumb. They will listen to you, and they will respond, and they will give you wise advice. And that is a really important thing to have when you're dealing with this issue. Now, here is what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to ignore it, and I don't want you to give into it. Sexual feelings are way too powerful to ignore. When we try to ignore them and just hope that they'll go away, we end up acting on them in a way that we never planned to in the first place. They cannot be ignored. We have to deal with them, but we don't have to give in to them, okay? What you watch, what you hear from your friends, what you read online will tell you that you have to give in to those feelings. But that is a lie, and you are strong, and you are different, and you don't have to give in to those feelings. You don't have to act on those feelings right now. Remember this. We don't have to act on our sexual feelings right now. We can wait, and we can save those feelings and those actions for the person that we are married to someday. Now, I want to say one more thing before I'm done tonight. To those of you who perhaps have been involved sexually with someone in middle school, or maybe even before middle school, Now, I know there's a lot of you that I'm talking to tonight, and so it's likely that some of you have been involved sexually with someone. And I don't want you to hear me say that you can't go backwards and start over and have a life that is sexually pure and do the things that I talked about tonight, name it and redirect it. You can, you absolutely can, even if you've already been involved with someone sexually. And here's how. God designed a plan to erase the things that we've done in our life that are wrong. And his plan was to send Jesus. And Jesus came to earth. He lived a perfect life. He died a death on a cross that he did not deserve so that he could pay the penalty for anything that we've ever done wrong and so that we could become pure and right before God. Jesus was God's plan for you and for me. And so, if you have been involved sexually with someone, you can simply confess that to God and ask him for forgiveness, and he will forgive you. In fact, in the Bible, it says that he will separate our sin, the things we do wrong, as far as the east is from the west. That's like as far as you can possibly get, and that's how far away it will be taken from you. And you can start over, and you can begin to live a life that is different when it comes to your own sexuality. Now, if you want to stay tonight because you have questions or you're just like, oh, I'm just reeling from the stuff Joelle said, or I have a story like Joelle had and I need to tell somebody or I need to pray with someone tonight, then I want you to do that. I want you to be brave and strong and mature and talk to somebody tonight. And so I'm going to actually pass it off now to the pastors of student ministries at your campus, and they are going to tell you what to do. So don't go anywhere. All right, we'll see you guys. Okay, I'm going to be the pastor of student ministries at Lino at the moment, okay? Because I wasn't going to make Mark come out here and talk about this on his first night, okay? So first of all, you did a really good job. I'm proud of you. Okay, one more serious thing before I tell you where to go. One more serious thing. Also, when I'm talking to this number of people about this sensitive of a topic, I'm also aware that there might be some of you in the room who have experienced a sexual interaction with someone that was not your choice. And I'm going to cry about this. If that has happened to you, I am so sorry. And we hate that happened to you, and we want to pray with you and talk with you about it and be there for you. And if you have just questions, like I mentioned a minute ago, and you just want to talk to someone, or you just like have had some feelings that have come up in your life, and you're like, I do want to talk about this with someone, then your volunteers, will you guys raise your hand? Your volunteers with the name tags on, they want to talk to you. Can you guys nod? They want to talk to you about it. They want to pray with you about it. You can find any of them during hang time. Just give them a little tap. That'll be like our secret code, like a little tap on the shoulder. This is your elbow, not your shoulder. It's going pretty good for me tonight. So, and then they'll just talk with you and pray with you. Okay, whatever you need tonight, we want to be there for you. Hey, if you're new tonight, I promise I won't be talking about this same topic next week. Please come back. Let me pray for you, and then I'm going to send you out, okay? God, you're so awesome. Thanks for being with us tonight, and I pray for just decisions to be made tonight for students to handle this in a different way that would honor you. And I pray for healing for students who have maybe experienced abuse or who want to start over. I pray for that to be possible only through you. We love you so much. In Jesus' name, amen. Bye, you guys. See ya.